Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am your host, Vortex, from MobileMusicPro.com, your home for mobile music production. And if you are new to the channel, what we do here is release weekly videos teaching people how to produce music on their iOS device. And in today's video, we'll be giving you our top 4 picks for the best standalone mastering apps right after this. And remember folks, if you do enjoy this content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Now in our last video, we covered how to use the mastering strip inside of Cubasis 3, so if you didn't check out that video yet, make sure to see that one first. And as we mentioned in that last video, the mastering stage is the very last step in the overall music production process. So you do want to make sure that you have your mix as solid as you can before using any of these mastering apps. Now it's also important to leave some additional headroom in your mix as well, somewhere typically around -6 dB. And this is done so that when the volume does inevitably get turned up during the mastering process, you'll still have plenty of space to bring that mix to life, without any extra distortion or unwanted clipping. Because remember again, the main goals of mastering are twofold. The first one of those is to make sure that your song is loud enough to compete with the rest of the songs in the listening marketplaces. And the second is to make sure that your song sounds as good as it can in as many listening environments as possible. And finally, as the title suggests, we will only be covering standalone mastering apps in this video, as we'll be covering AUV3 specific mastering apps later on in the future. Alright, and now with that intro aside, let's get started taking a look at these top 4 standalone mastering apps. But real quick, we'd just like to offer our usual disclaimer here, and that this isn't a tutorial video on how to use each and every one of these individual apps. Instead, we'd just like to quickly demo these apps to you and point out what we think makes these apps so special. And also, just a quick reminder that these are just our top 4 picks, so definitely make sure to leave yours in the comments below. And finally, just keep in mind that the mastering subject is very deep, and in fact, there are mastering engineers that do nothing but master songs all day. So don't think that these apps are ever going to replace what those people do, but nevertheless, you can still get some pretty great results. Alright, now let's dive into our very first app. And the first app that we'll be taking a look at today is Grand Finale by Clevgrand, currently available for $14.99 in the App Store. Now, Grand Finale is a multi-effect audio processing application designed for finalizing complete mixes. The plugin offers several modules in a pre-routed configuration. Each module has parameters to alter, and most of the modules offer a set of algorithms to select. These features come together to make Grand Finale a powerful tool for quickly finalizing a track, bus, or mix. Now, we currently do have the app pulled up here, and as you'll find, most of the apps today have a pretty nice simple interface, in that most of the features are on one single screen. You can see right away that this app does come with a bunch of those modules that the description mentioned, such as a compressor, multiband compressor, stereo tool, and an equalizer. And all of the apps that we'll be discussing today do feature presets, so you can find the presets here at the bottom of the screen, and you can choose from master, bus, drums, vocal, bass, or your own user presets. But for today's demonstration, we're going to be using a master preset, and the song that we'll be reusing across all of these apps today is going to be a synthwave song. So typically we're going to choose EDM settings like this EDM punch. What I'd like to do today is show off several presets from each individual app. But first, let's go ahead and import our song. So to do that, we'll tap our import button on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Now, most of the apps today will allow you to import from iTunes, but we're actually going to be using AudioShare, because using AudioShare is typically the easiest way to get your audio imported into all of these apps. So let's tap on AudioShare import here at the bottom. And we're going to be importing this synthwave 1.wave song here. And in fact, we've already mastered this song with these 4 different mastering apps, because we've actually imported all 4 of these different versions into Cubasis so that we can A/B test them later. And right away, you can tell that these WAV files are much different than the original mix. Here you can see that the original production mix waveform is much thinner than the rest of the mastered versions. But again, we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the video. So let's go ahead and import our original production mix and tap on Import into App. That'll just take a quick second, and now it's immediately imported into Grand Finale. You can see that same waveform that we just showed you in AudioShare show up right here in the top left-hand corner. Now what I'm going to do for most of these apps here is only play the loudest part of the song, and then in the final part of the video, you'll be able to hear the entire song through while flipping back and forth between all 4 mastered versions. So let's start out with the app disabled first by tapping on the power button here, right next to where it says Grand Finale. Now, as we said earlier, we will be using the EDM punch preset at first, but then we'll go through a couple others as it's playing. So now we're going to play the song and start out with the app disabled, and then enable and disable it as it's playing. Alright, now we're going to move to another loud part of the song and start auditioning some of these other presets. Alright, so definitely some great sounding results there. You'll find that all of these different mastering tools, including the mastering strip inside of Cubasis 3, all have pretty similar plugin modules inside of them, including things like a compressor, multi-band compressor, stereo tool, and equalizer. As these are the main tools in every mastering engineer's tool chest to get the most life out of a mix as possible. And then finally, once you are happy with your song, you just need to export it by tapping on the export button on the bottom right hand side of the screen. Here you can choose from all your standard formats and bit depths, including things like WAV, AIF, and MP4, and bit depths all the way from 16 to 32-bit. So all in all, a super beautiful and handy app from Clevgran. And the next app that we'll be taking a look at today is AudioMaster Pro by Future Moments, currently available for $19.99 in the App Store. Now, AudioMaster Pro instantly maximizes the volume and enhances the sonic characteristics of your recording. Immediately hear a boost in volume and improvement of your sound. You can use this app in standalone mode or as an AUV3 plugin within a DAW of your choice. Plus, this app features a ton of great presets and has 3 settings per genre and allows you to export, save, and share anywhere. Now, we do have the app currently pulled up, and as you can see, it is a pretty nice and beautiful app. Now, just like the rest of the apps, the first thing that you're going to want to do is import your song. But this app is a little bit trickier to get your song in than the rest of the apps, as you can't import directly from AudioShare. So we have to do one quick workaround where we have to copy the song into Audio Copy. So to do that, we'll just pull up our AudioShare app and find the song that we want to import here, which is the synthwave1.wave again. Now, because this is 48, we're going to actually have to convert this to 44.1 before Audio Copy will allow us to copy the file. So we'll tap on Tools, and we'll tap on Convert, and we'll set this to 16-bit at 44 kHz, and let's choose Save. Now that we have our converted file, we can copy this with Audio Copy. So let's tap on our Copy button here, and let's tap on Audio Copy 3. Now that file has copied to Retronym's Audio Copy app, so we'll go back to our mastering app, AudioMaster Pro, and we'll tap on the Import button in the top right-hand corner. And here we are going to import from Audio Copy. Again, you can import from other options like iTunes, but this is going to be the quickest. So we'll tap on Import from Audio Copy. And since we did copy that from within the AudioShare app, we'll tap on AudioShare. And there is our first file here ready to go. So we'll tap on that. Now that will just take a quick second, and it will be automatically imported into your app. And you'll be able to see your waveform here at the bottom of the screen. And of course, you can always audition this at any time by tapping on the play button. Now, browsing presets in this app is going to be a little bit different than the rest. Here we're actually going to be given a slide interface where we can slide from left to right. So if we slide to the right here, we can see that the first preset is Podcasts, and each one of your presets will have 3 different settings to audition. Now, this is a little bit jarring at first because you can't actually touch all of the controls in these plugins. For example, if I click and drag, you can see nothing is happening here. Instead of being able to touch any one of these dials, to make the app nice and simple for as many people as possible, they just give you these 3 presets to choose from on each one of these plugins. So you can see here we have 1, 2, and 3 for podcasts, and we have 1 and 2 and 3 for voiceover, and 3 for rock, and so on and so forth. Now, before we start using these, let's just take a quick look to see what else they have here. So they're going to feature folk, they're going to feature blues, classical, country, hip-hop, electronic, jazz, Latin, new age, pop, R&B and soul, and that looks like it's the last preset here. So let's go through a few of these and hear what they sound like. What we're going to do is start out with the most obvious genre presets for the song, which is going to be electronic. So let's move to a loud part of the song and hit play and check out these 3 presets. So not much of a huge difference here between these 3 different settings, but you can always audition what it's like without the plugin by holding down the Compare button. So let's go back now to 1, audition these 3 again, and then try some more presets. Alright, so I pretty much like the New Age one here the best, but what I've found from this plugin is that it really doesn't actually improve the volume a whole lot. It definitely does a little bit, but it's definitely not as aggressive as the rest of the mastering plugins that we have featured today. And then finally, when you're all done and happy with your mix, all you have to do to export is tap on the export button in the top right hand corner. And here you have all your standard settings: default wave, HD wave, M4A, mono, or stereo. I found that this app is mostly really good for podcast audio more than it is for mastering full mixes. Like we said before, none of the apps here are cheap, but they are going to have their own sonic character. So you really are going to have to experiment to see which one works best for you. Okay, and the next app that we'll be taking a look at today is Final Touch by Positive Grid, currently available for $19.99 in the App Store. Now, Final Touch is a full-featured and professional audio post-production system for your iPad, combining a maximizer, equalizer, 4-band compressor, stereo imager, reverb, and dithering into one integrated app. It gives your mixes a polished and professional sound. Now, definitely not going to lie, I don't want to be biased, but this is definitely one of my favorite mastering apps on the iPad. There just really are a ton of fantastic presets in here, including presets for specific genres, and presets for each one of these individual modules. But as usual, the first thing that we're going to need to do is import our song. So to do that, we'll tap on the import button here in the top left-hand corner. And once again, we are going to go from Audio Share, as that seems to be the easiest way to get audio into these apps. So we'll tap on Audio Share. And once again, we'll choose our synthwave.1 file, and then tap on Import into App. Once again, that'll just take a quick second and be instantly imported. Now, as the description said, this does come with a number of modules, including EQs, reverbs, stereo imagers, compressors, maximizers, and so on. But the most magical button is going to be the preset button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, where we can tap on Preset. Now, as we said, there are a ton of great presets in here, but we're going to choose the genre-based ones. You can see there's presets here for country, hip-hop, house, jazz, and so on. But what we're going to do is we're going to choose the Electro Basic preset here. Now, you can always enable and disable the plugin with all of its effects by tapping on the Positive Grid button here on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You can also enable and disable each one of these individual effects by tapping on the Power button in the top left-hand corner. You can see that each one of these buttons will have a Power button here in the top left-hand corner. Now, I mentioned that you can choose an overall preset here from the Preset button in the bottom right-hand corner, but each one of these will allow you to have your own individual presets by tapping on the Preset button here right next to the Power button. You'll be able to choose from some built-in settings as well as saving your own. So for example, if we tap on Reverb and we tap on the Preset button, you can see we have Stadium, Large Theater, Thick and Dry Mix, Small Room, and so on. And if we tap on a Stereo Imager, we can check out the presets here. There's going to be Widespread, Focus Low End, and Narrow the Image. So this app just makes it really easy to get started, especially if you're brand new to mastering your song. So let's go ahead and play this once, and then see if we need to do any adjustments after that. So once again, we're going to choose a louder part of the song here, right about there. And let's start out with the plugin disabled, and then we'll enable it as it's playing. So let's hit play. Alright, there we go. And in addition to using that preset, I also actually added a couple of dynamics here in the EQ. I boosted the lower end a little bit, and boosted the mid-range just a little bit as well. And then after that I added a stereo imager, where I used the default preset and just increased the stereo width a little bit here. And finally I added a post EQ with the digital presence preset. And we can see what that's doing right now. That's boosting a little bit here in the higher mids, giving this a little bit more presence in the mix. And then finally we do have our maximizer here at the very end of the chain, with the threshold pulled down a little bit here so we can start having this plugin kick in. And now let's move it to a loud part of the song again and do one final A/B test before we move on to the next plugin. Let's go right about here, start with it disabled, and then hit play. Alright, very cool. In fact, I probably pushed a little bit too hot there. I think I heard a little bit of distortion there in the highs, but this is an absolutely fantastic plugin. Once you choose your preset, you can then go in here and just tweak every little thing. And then finally, when you are all happy with your mix, to export that, we're just going to tap on the export button here at the top of the screen. And from here, you can choose anything that you'd like, including Dropbox, mail, file sharing, audio copy, or audio share. For us, it's definitely going to be audio share, as that seems to be the easiest way to get audio in and out of all of these individual apps. But there you have it, folks. Final Touch by Positive Grid, an absolutely fantastic app, super easy to use, and super great results. And the last but not least app on our list today is going to be the Lurssen Mastering Console by IK Multimedia, currently available for free, but has in-app purchases inside of the App Store. Now make no mistakes, folks, this is definitely going to be the most expensive app that we'll be talking about today. And not just the most expensive, but the most expensive by a wide margin. Now, is the app actually worth that much? Well, that's up for you to decide. But before we start playing, let's go ahead and read you the description. Now, the Lurssen Mastering Console puts you at the controls in the studio with all of the secret tools, settings, and techniques of the world-renowned multi-Grammy award-winning mastering engineer Gavin Lurssen and his team. Now, you can master your music on the go with the iPhone or iPad and get the professional Grammy award-winning sound that the studio is known for. It comes with presets for all the genres that you could ever think of, including pop, rock, hip-hop, and more. The Lurssen Mastering Console can help you achieve amazing mastering results when a trip to Los Angeles just isn't in the budget. Now we have the app pulled up here, and it is an absolutely beautiful app. I really do dig the aesthetics here with just a few big buttons and then a beautiful background image to complement the whole thing. Now this app is a lot like the AudioMaster Pro app, where you don't really get a whole lot of control here, and the options that you do get are highly pre-configured by the app creator. Now the first thing that you're going to do, just like the rest of the apps, is import your song. So we'll head on over to our Audio Share app just like before. And what we're going to do this time, though, is long tap on our song, and then tap on Export/Share. What we're going to do here is scroll all the way to the right, tap on More, and we're going to scroll down to where we see the Lurssen Mastering Console here. And the option that we're going to choose is Copy to Lurssen Mastering Console, so we'll tap on that. We'll tap on OK. That'll just take a second, and now we have it imported into the app. Now, as the app mentioned, it does have a bunch of genre-based presets that you can choose right here on the top of the app. So we'll tap on Style here. The default is pop rock, but you can choose from jazz, hip-hop, electronica, and more. Now this is a synthwave song, so let's choose EDM. Now you can always enable and disable the app by tapping on the bypass button in the center of the app here. Now to scrub through the wave file, you're going to have to tap on the wave button in the top right-hand corner. Here you can set the exact spot that you'd like to start from, or you can grab the handles here and repeat an exact spot that you'd like to go over and over again. But make sure that you do have the loop button here enabled at the bottom of the screen. We're going to disable this for now though. So let's put this right where the song starts getting loud, right around here. There we go. And we're going to start with this app disabled, so we'll tap on Bypass. Now we're going to hit play and enable the plugin as it's playing. All right, very cool. As you can see, we did up the push a little bit there to give it a little bit more air in the high end. You can adjust individual frequencies here with these dials at the bottom. And then finally, you can adjust your input volume with the input drive here on the far left-hand side. So now let's reset this preset, go back to what it was by default, tapping on EDM there. And we'll double tap on push to reset that. So let's A/B this a little bit more, and then change the preset as it's playing. Alright, sounds absolutely beautiful. And those presets provide a great foundational starting point to the point to where you really don't even need to touch the dials that much. Now, when you do have your final settings all dialed in, it will be time to export. So to do that, we will tap on the export button on the top of the screen. And here you can have all of your different settings that you'd like to choose from. Now, typically, of course, you'd like to choose Wave, which has your sample rate and bit depth options below that. And then when you're exporting, I always choose More, which brings up that iOS share dialog, allowing you to save the file to any app or any place that you'd like. So overall, just a great app with fantastic results. I highly recommend you at least download it and try it for free, because it definitely has a try it before you buy it model. So definitely make sure that you do like what you hear, because the full version of this app is definitely going to be a pretty big investment. Now for the final section of the video, we're going to compare all 4 of these apps back to back. So to do that, we do have 4 versions of that audio song, each one mastered with a different app and chopped up so that each one plays back to back. So first up, we have the AudioMaster Pro, then Final Touch, and then Grand Finale, and finally the Lurssen Mastering Console. And again, each one of these will play in succession, one after the other. So now let's go ahead and take a listen to all 4 versions of this mastered song. Alright, and there you have it folks, 4 different mastered versions of the same song. Now there's a couple of immediate takeaways that you can get here, and the first one is the AudioMaster Pro app, like we said, doesn't quite get the volume up there as much as the other mastering apps. And then that Lurssen mastering console definitely added a bunch of extra low end here compared to the Grand Finale and Final Touch apps. But of course, remember these results can vary wildly depending on the settings that you have in each one of these individual mastering apps. I tried to choose a similar setting such as an electronica or EDM setting, but still there's a bunch of other knobs and options that you can dial in. Overall, if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be Final Touch, but it really is subjective depending on what you like. Again, we really like all 4 of these different mastering apps. You just have to try them out to see which one will work best for you. Alright, and now it's time again for our final thoughts. And if you are still rocking with us, then we just can't thank you enough for being here, and we especially can't thank those enough that are here every single Wednesday and Friday to watch our live streams and live premieres. Now remember folks, these were just our top 4 picks, so definitely make sure to leave yours in the comments below. Now hopefully we did demonstrate these apps well enough for you to be able to hear the big difference between the standard production mix and the mastered version, because all of these apps really do have their own unique sound and character. And just a quick apology guys, it has been a couple of weeks since our last video, but I am definitely recharged now and ready to go, and we have a lot more coming down the pipe for you. Speaking of which, our Halloween contest deadline just ended on October 19th, and we put up all of the songs that we received on our website so you can begin voting right now. So make sure to cast your vote now at MobileMusicPro.com/contest because there is over $200 of prizes up for grabs for the top 4 winners. And of course, we always have a ton more content coming your way, so if you do want to keep up with everything that we're doing over here at the channel, make sure to sign up for our completely free mailing list at MobileMusicPro.com. And so, until next time everybody, keep talking music and we'll see you later. Hey everybody, Vortex here, and if you're not aware yet, we now have over 100 fully edited mobile music tutorial videos. And we make music every single Wednesday live on our channel right inside of Cubasis on our iPad. Plus, we also have a bunch of free sample packs, guides, and more at our website at MobileMusicPro.com/free. And so if you are into that sort of thing, producing music on your iPhone or iPad, then definitely make sure to subscribe and check out the rest of the videos on the channel that we know you'll love.